Welcome to today's GC Advantage webinar. My name is Bob Barker, and I'm one of the managing partners at the firm, and thank you for joining us. The title today is the transformative value of executive coaching for in-house counsel. And this topic is really near and dear to my heart, as I have the opportunity to work with clients who are interested in coaching, understand their needs, and then match them up with the senior advisors / coaches on our team. And for those that are considering, executive coaching, I'll just tell you the feedback that I receive after the fact at the end of engagements is just really off the charts. We've just got an amazing team and couldn't be prouder of the folks like A.B., Cruz, and Haydee Olinger, who you'll be hearing from today. Just a quick overview as far as who we are, BarkerGilmore, if you're not familiar with us, is we really help to build and develop in-house legal and compliance departments. So we recruit general counsel, chief compliance officers, as well as in-house counsel to report into the GC. As far as the GC Advantage program, it's our complementary professional development program for legal and compliance leaders. The opportunity to interact with folks like A.B. and Haydee and other GCs, both sitting and former CEOs, board members at times, and it's really to help you advance your career. Today's presentation is being recorded. An email will be sent out to everybody who's registered, letting you know once the materials are available on the website. It'll also be available as a podcast, and we also have just a library of pre-recorded webinars for your use. The next webinar that we're going to have is on April 10th. The topic is too much to do and too little time to do it. So it's time management tips, and so I encourage you to join us for that next webinar. During this webinar, if you have questions, please submit them. They're at the bottom of the Zoom app. You'll see a Q&A icon, and if you just enter your question there. Also, you'll be able to see other questions that have been asked, and if you have basically the same type of question, you can just click a thumbs up, and that'll let the presenters know that it's a popular topic that we want to make sure we get addressed today. And we'll do our best to get as many of these questions answered by the end of the presentation today. At this point, I'll turn it over to Haydee and A.B. to introduce themselves, and then I'll come back on at the end of the session here.
Thanks, Bob. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I'm Haydee Olinger, as you can see from the slide. I am the former Global Chief Compliance Officer with McDonald's Corporation, where I started the compliance function and built it into a team of compliance professionals in McDonald's markets worldwide. I'm currently an executive coach and advisor with BarkerGilmore, where I provide coaching and career enhancement assistance to clients from small to large organizations. I also currently serve on 2 public boards listed on the NASDAQ and am a member of the Board of Trustees for DePaul University. A.B.?
Yeah, thank you, Haydee, and thank you, Bob. Welcome to everyone. So glad that we're convened here to discuss a very important topic, and that is executive coaching. I won't read what's captioned here on the slide, other than to say that, yes, I've had past real experience as General Counsel / Chief Legal Officer and Chief Compliance Officer, Corporate Secretary, and along the same lists for a number of fairly large companies. And so that's the experience that Haydee and I bring to the conversation today, and we'll certainly get into it. And with that, I think we will move into the discussion. Again, just a reminder, please, if you have any questions, hit the chat and get them in there. We'll try to monitor them as closely as possible. Haydee and I both want to make sure that your questions are answered during our conversation here. And if by chance we don't get to your question, we'll certainly look to get back with you and to get the answer to your questions. So let's kick things off here to set the stage. And I think for those of you, or hopefully all of you, have had a chance to look at BarkerGilmore's 2024 Aspiring General Counsel report regarding executive coaching, the topic of our conversation today. If you haven't, please, when you have a moment, take time to download that. But let me highlight a couple of findings in this, I think, illuminating report. First, one of the key findings was that in-house counsel who received executive coaching were more likely to be identified as a successor than their counterparts who did not engage in executive coaching. The percentages, roughly 35%, again, more likely to be identified as the successor, as opposed to 26%. Second finding, 37% of managing counsel and 20% of senior counsel have worked with an executive coach in their current position. The coach was most likely to be an external service provider for both managing counsel at 91% and senior counsel at 74%. Both managing counsel and senior counsel found that coaching to be very valuable or extremely valuable. Roughly around just over 2/3 of both managing counsel and senior counsel commented as such. And then finally, management identified successors received professional development at higher rates than managing counsel or senior counsel generally. So again, we just wanted to start by laying a groundwork, at least in a theme that you'll hear during this conversation, that executive coaching can be very valuable. We discussed beforehand, Haydee and I did, along with Bob, to asking, in the audience here, who has received coaching. My guess and what I said was I'm sure we have folks who have had executive coaching and those who have not.
Sounds like A.B., are you having a little bit of problem with the recording?
Not that I'm aware of, Haydee.
Yeah, it sounds good at this end. Maybe
Okay.
I think it might be Haydee
I
might
think
have some
Haydee just,
delay at
I
the
think,
near end.
Haydee just froze. So we'll continue, and hopefully
It was indicative of what the executive coaches, of what the GCs feel about executive coaching. And I wanted to just add a few things to that, because as a board member on 2 publicly held companies, I can tell you, as you all know, that competition for talent does continue to be a challenge. We find that investing in the talent we have is critical to improving the leadership and management performance of those we have in-house right now. It's also critical for in retention. That's another area where we're focused on, and we feel that executive coaching helps to develop those individuals. Specifically, some of the more important areas, and we're going to talk a little bit about the value of coaching, are the listening and communication skills. And in my opinion, one of the most important parts is the ability to enhance your self-awareness and your emotional intelligence. The one-on-one insight and experience that we have with our coaches can be very fulfilling and professionally motivating. At the same time, one of the things I talk to my coachees about is they really have to devote the time and effort needed, and they must be open to the self-awareness that comes from this type of professional interaction and engagement. When I was at McDonald's, I was tapped for executive coaching. I felt motivated to think that management valued me and considered me a future leader because they were investing money on my professional growth. And you should look at it that way as well. it is a positive step. Whether your organization is asking you to participate or whether you're asking them if you can participate, it should be viewed and is normally viewed in most organizations as a positive step in your growth. Specifically, if your company's paying, of course, they've invested some money in your career. They want to see the return that investment will have, and so they will expect something. That's why the recent BarkerGilmore report that AB was talking about highlights that impact that executive coaching had on General Counsel's career. It has proven to be a differentiator, and frankly, in today's environment, a company that does not provide employees with these extras is really not thinking competitively. AB, thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I'm glad you raised that, Haydee. You know, the good news is that executive coaching is no longer just for CEOs like it was in the old days. Just CEOs had an executive coach. Shortly, you know, at some point it spread to this, you know, the rest of the C-suite, where we as members of the C-suite, and I've had several coaches over the years, got to enjoy the benefits of executive coaching. Now, you'll see that executive coaching is extended into the kind of the middle levels now of a corporation's executive staff, which I think is a good thing. And I think to Haydee's point, you know, it demonstrates, if nothing else, it demonstrates that the companies are certainly willing to invest and want to invest in their high potential, high performing executives, so that they can have every benefit of the doubt to an opportunity to enhance their performance and frankly contribute at a growing rate in terms of what they give back to their companies. Again, coaching is something that is, I think, spread more and extended to more to the executives across many organizations. So it is worth a conversation, I think, as you engage with your reporting seniors at your respective places of work, where it should be part of the discussion in terms of when it comes to discussions about performance and goal setting, etc. And I think with that, we can move to the next slide, and I'll let Haydee take the lead on this one.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So you know, I think one of the important things about the BG's typical executive engagement is that, you know, we work with the client to determine what's the best fit. You know, what is the best timing? But a typical one would probably be 6 months engagement. There's a various difference. Either the company may pay or the individual may be self-paid. We would explore the different aspects, and of course the employee or the individual would have to just look into what his company or her company offers in that regard. We do what we call a customized flex to fit type of coaching. I'm a former chief compliance officer, as I mentioned, and I know AB is a former general counsel. So we cater our coaching to those types of clients who have sat in the role that we used to have, clients who currently sit in that role. I usually start by first of all figuring out, talking to the client and determining whether we are a good fit. You know, are we compatible? Is this is my client and are the client and I going to be able to have an open discussion about the career? How do they feel about having an executive coach? Are they looking at it as a positive? Are they hoping to gain something, which is absolutely what you should be doing? But you know, you shouldn't just want to do this to go through the moves and then say you've done it. I usually start with a discussion about, after they've chosen, we've decided we can work together. I then ask them, you know, where do they see their pluses in mind or opportunities? Where do they see the areas they want to grow? Where do they see themselves in 6 months or a year? Because it's very critical for me to understand what the coachee wants to get out of the coaching engagement. And then after I listen to all of that and I put that together, I do conduct a personal 360 assessment. The coachee will usually give me a list of individuals, superiors, peers, and individuals that report to them. And I usually talk to each of them under confidentiality, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm going to run back and say, well, here's what they said. And basically, I find that everyone is very respectful in their responses. They are very good at giving me some positive feedback, and giving me some areas where the person can hopefully work on for future growth. And then I usually find that after that, the the things identified by the individuals I have interviewed are pretty similar to what the individual has identified themselves. So it makes it a lot easier, because we all have an innate feeling about where we need to improve. And it's good that when we do that, I have that starting point. And then I develop a program to go with the areas where we want to grow. One of the things I really appreciate about these coaching engagements is that while I am talking about the process for an actual coaching program, I do get into some very good discussions with my clients about what they're experiencing as a current or sitting chief compliance officer or someone in the compliance function, because I was there, so I know what they're going through. And as much as things are not similar, they really are. So it is a good discussion. And so I'll stop there for now. Maybe AB has some additional things with his clients.
Yeah, let me touch on some of the bullet points here. Again, we put quotes around typical because, frankly, it varies on each of these bulleted items here. While generally it's a 6-month engagement, we have engagements that are, fewer in months or a year long. I have clients who are, for the next 3 months or for the next year. The company paid versus self-paid. My clients are, in some cases, the company pays for it. And in some cases, the individual has decided to, self-invest, if you will, to engage in a variety of, their coaching needs. And again, what we stress here is, we are prepared and we really flex to fit what the client's needs are, having had good conversations with prospective clients on what they need. Let me just touch briefly on just the cost, because that's probably a frequent question. Usually a 6-month engagement, again, typically company paid is, $25,000 to $30,000, and that's quite an investment by the companies. That said, if you have a situation where the company's not prepared or does not have a program, you can go the self-paid route. And I would say this, so that really, hopefully, nobody gets is become fearful of the cost being the 25, 30,000. That I don't want that to be an impediment of the opportunity to for prospective client to avail themselves of coaching expertise. And so I would just say this and recommend to folks that are considering or are forced to consider self-paid coaching, and that is have a conversation with us. Let's discuss, and we'll try to figure out a way that makes best sense. Let me touch on a couple of things, flex to fit things here. Obviously, if it's company paid, they usually generally require a 360 assessment, a more formal one. To Haydee's point, I think even those that are self-paid, we try to do a 360, if you will, so that we better understand the clients that we are aiming to serve. I will share one story about, while executive coaching is how we open the engagement with an individual, that over time, sometimes the coaching evolves. The good news and the differentiator that we mentioned before is that people like Haydee and myself we were chief legal officers, we were chief compliance officers. So, we've been in your shoes before. So oftentimes, the discussions while in an executive coaching engagement becomes more mentoring, where we're talking about situational things that are coming up on our a client's desk. And so, I always say, we've been there, we've done that, we've gotten a t-shirt. That's valuable in terms of the conversations that we can have with our clients. And certainly not to knock, and I've had Korn Ferry and Spencer Stewart coaches. I think, Russell Reynolds, they have great coaches, but their model is different. They aren't typically they're not former chief legal officers or chief compliance officers. So that's the differentiating thing that we bring to the table, so that we can have robust discussions, not only about such things as leadership and command presence or leadership presence. We can talk about real live situational things, confidential in a confidential setting, which I think serves our clients very well. I will also add that in my experience, because I have pretty long relationships with people I've coached in the past, that it has evolved from executive coaching to mentoring, and in some cases, career coaching, which is a whole different conversation. But our point being here is that, again, we will customize the services that we provide to the clients to fit the needs of our clients very specifically. And I think we can move to the next slide. I think there's a question. Let me see. I think there was one question I saw, and I'll address it. The question is essentially, how soon should one look into executive coaching? I am a mid-senior level in-house with a large company and pretty far removed from an executive role in the C-suite. Is it too soon for me? Well, I definitely think it's not too soon to begin to look at how your organization, what kind of programs they do have set up for executive coaching, right? And so I think you can do some initial due diligence. I always say it's never too early to at least do due diligence and maybe ask questions of your reporting superior or to the HR department.
Yes,
Haydee, go ahead.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. Oh, I think it is not too early. I mean, when I was at McDonald's, we used to have a program where we would provide coaching to our restaurant level employees. They weren't top management, but of course they were responsible for large restaurant organizations in their own right. So uh, we did provide that coaching, and they were of immense value. So I would definitely talk to your HR department about what opportunities they can offer you. During a discussion in your performance review, I would discuss it with your immediate supervisor and say, how do you feel about coaching, executive coaching, and what areas could I work on if I were to get a coach, and how could I potentially have one in an organization? I don't believe it's too early at all, especially as you continue to grow in an organization.
Thank you, Haydee. There's another question about on a self-paid assessment. How do you overcome issues as to confidentiality of data, business information, and do a 360? There is no protection in an NDA with the company as opposed to individual client. That is a great question, and the point that is the underlying point there is absolutely accurate in that we will not have in that situation, we will not have an NDA with the company. That said, our engagement with individual people makes it a point that we will maintain confidentiality on things, and I certainly honor that. And information shared with me goes no further than the conversation being had with the client. And I think individuals need to exercise their own judgment and good discretion in terms of what information they they will share or should share with their coach. That said, oftentimes you can, as we often do, you can talk at least situationally without providing the specifics. If there is very sensitive information, you can do it in a way where business information, business data is not specifically shared. And again, I have never encountered a conversation that's been uncomfortable to any real extent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Neither have I. So I agree with you, AB.
okay, thanks. And real quickly, there's another. What does a 6-month program involve? Are a certain number of hour BarkerGilmore time allocated per week or month, or is the fee tied up in producing 360 assessment? Great question, and we probably should have covered that. If 360, we mentioned $25,000-$30,000. Usually the engagement, if it includes a 360, yes, there is some part of that fee that's a portion for covering the 360. Typically, again, I generally meet with my clients twice a month, but I also, and this is my personal preference, I have an open call policy with them. They can text me or call me anytime. But generally speaking, I like to meet ideally with my clients at least twice a month, every other week or so for about an hour. We can go shorter or longer depending on the needs of the client. And so over the 6-month typical engagement, I will have met with that client at least 12 times. In my case, when I'm doing the counting, we actually far exceed that. I don't know about Haydee, your experience, but
Yeah.
I keep it open-ended.
Mine is the same. I meet twice a month after all the 360, and then so it's the same as AB. And then I'm also open to anyone contacting me at any time in between our set calls. And even after, I was telling AB earlier as well, that after the engagement, I'm always available. I try to follow up with my clients and see how things are going with them. And if they perhaps have a question at some point, maybe 3 months down the line that comes up, they're always welcome to call me. I really feel like it becomes a very, close relationship, close professional relationship where I want a client to be able to come back and talk to me about something if they're struggling, or if they just have a general question about maybe a presentation they're about to make. So while it is, we say, we do the 12-month, we do the 6-month, and we have the 12 sessions plus all of the 360, I think it's a much more fulfilling relationship than the one that I had under a very structured one at McDonald's, because again, they were providing a cookie cutter type of coaching engagement that they gave to everybody, be it a lawyer, be it a senior officer, be it anybody, any other marketing professional, anything, everyone. So it wasn't tailored towards my exact needs. And as lawyers, we know we have a different way of thinking, and it wasn't the same. So, but I agree with AB. I think that we're available, and that makes it, I think, a little more special as well.
Yeah, I like to think that, and I believe that. So we touched early on in the first slide, really kind of overall value, right? But we kind of wanted to Haydee and I wanted to get into the real experiences, and we put this list together, which I'll ask Haydee to take us through, and then I'll add some comments. But here again, we're honing in on the value of executive coaching. Haydee?
Yeah, thank you, AB. So, this comes from experience. This comes from my experience with my clients and what they have told me. It does help develop insights into your leadership and communication style. The discussions about, where your opportunities may lay in your continued growth in an organization are valuable. And I believe it really does help provide that insight. It definitely helps raise your emotional intelligence. Those are the blind spot awareness, and provides more confidence. One of the areas that I find has been very typical of the engagements I've had is a desire to improve executive presence. And executive presence has a number of elements. So we work through the various elements throughout the time. And then the expectation is that after we've had a session and we've discussed an element, let's say communication, we talk about what it means to have a concise, succinct discussion or communication with either an officer or anybody in the organization. I then ask them to go out and practice what we just discussed. Find opportunities to have discussions with individuals that follow that model. In addition to that, one very critical thing I find is for anybody in an organization that wants to continue to grow and develop, you really need to understand the business. So you really need to speak beyond just the legal portion, the legal part of it. And I think that's part of that. I know that's part of the discussion I have with my clients. Go beyond opportunity, go beyond just the legal discussion. Try to have input into some of the strategic discussions. We're all intelligent. There's no reason why you can't make a point or say something that points to a business issue that is at hand. It also provides an opportunity to speak with someone you trust and who will maintain confidentiality. I, like AB, do not talk to anyone about the clients, or I don't even talk about the fact that I'm even representing an individual from a particular company. I think that trust is critical because it provides for more honest feedback and in a respectful environment between the two of us. And I think it gives the coachee a platform for an open discussion. Who else can you talk to that isn't within your organization, but can potentially help you navigate through a concern, or if you have a concern about, dealing with individuals or having difficult conversations with someone who reports to you. Those open discussions are very valuable. And I think the most important thing also, it helps formulate a plan for your growth. Once a coachee tells me, my goal is to become a general counsel, and we talk about, okay, well, what does that mean within your organization? The individual who's the general counsel at your company now, are they someone who's going to be leaving in the future? What is your career path or your thoughts on how long you want to be in this position before you grow into that next role? And is the organization you're at the right place for you to be at this point? I've had clients who tell me they're not sure they like where they're at, or they're not sure they want to stay with the company. Okay, so start looking for that opportunity and where it's going to take you. So that executive coaching, as AB said, maybe starts to meld into career coaching. But I think it's a function of the fact that you have a discussion between two people who have the same similar goal to help the coachee advance, whatever that may mean for that individual.
Thank you, Haydee. And I'll apologize to Haydee. In planning, I was supposed to lead the discussion on this slide, but she picked up without a hitch, and I appreciate that. My apologies, Haydee. But let me add
That's okay.
Let me add a couple of points here to these bullet points here. I think the second bullet here in particular, one of the things that I've learned as being one of the, as the person receiving coaching and also as the coach, this whole idea of emotional intelligence, and I will include in that just understanding that everyone has blind spots. I don't care how good you are, you have blind spots, and it's good to know what those blind spots are. And once you can identify those blind spots, then you can work with your coach, work with yourself, do self-assessments, and figure out a way to get over or to address those blind spots, because it is absolutely important. And let me just highlight something that Haydee talked about, because it is such an important point. It may be the fact that you you are a great lawyer. And because you're a great lawyer for, especially in-house for the companies that you serve, and it has gotten you from assistant general counsel to associate general counsel to deputy general counsel. If indeed you are fortunate enough and you get tapped to be the general counsel, one of the first things you'll learn is that being just a great lawyer will not make you a great GC. Simply because if you're sitting, especially if you're sitting at the C-suite and you've got your C-suite colleagues and you're working more directly with the board, you will find that you're frankly practicing a lot less law than you are dealing with the larger business of your company. And so when you're at the table now, the new C-suite table, you need to be able to have that presence, to know the business sufficiently well so that you can comment on things that have nothing to do with legal. Because guess what? The CEO, the CFO, the COO, the board chair, the committee chairs are going to expect you to have an opinion on things. And you cannot simply be at the table waiting for something with a legal aspect to it. That's when you speak up. Obviously, you will speak up in those instances, but first and foremost, you're a member of the C-suite team, which is, in my mind, team number one. It's no longer kind of the legal department, which you remain responsible for, but the teams the number one team you're serving is typically the C-suite as the general counsel. So I'm glad Haydee mentioned that. And because of that's a big transition from going from I'm a lawyer only to, oh, I'm part of the business leadership team. Since that transition is so dramatic, it's really important to know yourself very well and know what your limitations and blind spots are. Let me highlight, I think there was one other thing I wanted to highlight, and that was something about succession planning. So my question I usually ask my clients is, are you someone specifically identified as the successor to the GC, or at least a potential successor in the company's succession plan? And, if the answer to that question is no, or I don't think so, then, and you want to be, you want to progress to being the general counsel, whether it's at your company or not, I think it's really important to make sure that, you work with the coach to specifically lay out a plan which is designed to put you on the radar in terms of succession planning. And so, that last bullet, help formulate a plan of growth. That's a perfect example. If you really aspire to be the general counsel at your company, then it's obviously imperative that you're in the succession planning by name, by designation, by picture as a potential successor to the general counsel. And oh, by the way, in order to get you there, you need to really lay out a plan on how that's going to be done. And so I think those are the couple points that I want to raise. Anything else, Haydee, on this slide?
No, I agree with everything you've said. It is, I mean, I think that's the function of helping an individual out, be it with executive coaching, career coaching, but certainly, I think something we said earlier was that self-awareness and ensuring that you are aware of where you need the opportunities for growth and where you want to be, because that is the most important thing.
Okay, I'm just checking to see if there's any questions. I don't see any. So again, for those out there that might have a question, please don't be shy and type that into the chat, and we'll take a crack at answering your questions. Averill, I think with that we got moved to I think this is actually our final slide. And Haydee, you were going to take the lead on this one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
No
go ahead.
problem. No problem. I will. Thank you. I wanted to give an example. I had a coaching engagement with a very intelligent, articulate, aspiring chief general counsel. The existing compliance officer, had left. and they put her in the interim role while they conducted a search for a permanent chief compliance officer. She was among the candidates being considered, and I was hired to work with her to enhance her executive presence, communication, and time management skills. Over 6 months, we worked on these skills, and we discussed some of her presentations to both the board and the CEO, and the CEO, excuse me. Yes, we also prepped her for discussions with them on substantive issues. So, you know, in her discussions with the CEO, she was able to talk about the issues at hand while also discussing things about the business as well. She had mentioned in her discussions with the CEO that she had engaged with an executive coach, and she suggested to him that he might want to talk with me as he was considering a permanent replacement for the chief compliance officer role. To his credit, he reached out to me and we had a very nice discussion, where I provided insight into what she brought to the role and how she would be a successful chief compliance officer. Given that I had held that role myself, I was able to tell him how critical certain competencies were and how she was further enhancing those competencies during our engagement. He subsequently gave her the job, and she's currently in that role today. So I found that to be a very fulfilling, successful engagement, both for her, but for me too. I do get a very good sense of accomplishment when I help someone. I'm now at the point where coaching is something I enjoy doing because of the ability to help someone else. And I really appreciated when I had that when I was in my career, and now in my current role. It just happens to be a plus to everything else I'm doing. AB, do you have an example, or
Yeah,
did you
I
want to?
do. And well, I'm just kind of going off your comments because I do want to add something. One of as I look back at my career and, you know, I will say some of the great things that I remember that I like remembering is the fact that, when I was the general counsel at the various companies, I took a great deal of pride in mentoring and coaching and really educating those who were my direct reports primarily, or even a level below the direct reports, and developing them professionally. And if indeed they aspired to be, the next A.B. Cruz as a GC, we worked towards that. We had very intentional, purposeful plans in that person's professional development. And one of the things, I mean, when, now that I'm retired and people ask about, what you enjoyed most or what's your legacy, one of the things that I really take a great deal of pride in is that, I think, and I might be off one or two, but no fewer than 6, 7, or 8 former direct reports or the next level down who are now or who had become GCs of companies, whether it's at the company and they succeeded me, or at another company that I assisted them in finding that dream GC job. And then as coach now, I get to do the same thing. And so I really get a great deal enjoyment. I have a great deal of passion for the work that I get to do in partnership with clients. And so that kind of continues. And we've had success, I humbly, take at least a little bit of credit for helping those of my clients who have indeed become now GCs. And so the whole thing about value of coaching and so forth is reinforced, certainly based on my, whatever 14 years as a general counsel, but also now in the last few years as a coach with BarkerGilmore.
If I may add to that also, we talked about how we do it at BarkerGilmore, obviously, but there are many coaching organizations out there, and certainly if our process isn't for you, that's fine as well. But I think you really have to decide, what do you want to get out of coaching relationship? How important is that? How is that viewed within your organization? What tools does your organization provide already? Because some large companies may very well have internal coaches, and then what's the difference between that and the mentor that you may or may not have in a company? So there are a number of aspects to coaching, and there's a number of different type of coaching. Again, if you're interested in executive coaching, you have to be prepared to devote the time and effort it takes to have a coach. It's not as simple as just meeting. We talked about meeting twice a month, but those are substantive meetings. They're not just a quick hello, how are things going? Well, we do that as well, but we do help try to provide some tools for development for the individual, and that's where you have to take that and make it a part of your job. Your job is not just the one you have to do because of your role, but if you want to continue to progress in a career, your job is to work on your career. That's another aspect of your job, and for you personally, probably one of the most important ones, because it's where you are going to feel the most fulfilled as you continue to grow. And again, if you're not happy, and again, self-assessment, as I say, self-awareness. If you're not happy where you're at, you do need to look for where you're going to find that happiness. And if it's no longer in the role you're in, coaching engagement can help you get you there, or career coaching, however, it ends up being with your coach. But that will help you to really understand what you want out of your career, or what you want out of the company that you're at right now. And so from that standpoint, as I said, we guide the client. It is a process. It is done within a particular time frame, but flexible, as you heard A.B. and I mention. And of course, that has to do with the way that we like to manage our clients. Anything else on that, A.B.?
Yeah, we have a few minutes here, and so I just really want to kind of hone in on a point that, I think it's clear from our discussion here that Haydee and I both feel very strongly that executive coaching of some sort can be very beneficial to the individual receiving that coaching. And I hope everybody realizes that as you make the professional climb wherever you are, if you want to bloom where you're growing, as they say, you don't do it alone, right? You have hopefully your set of mentors, can be inside the company or outside the company, right? And you tap on to the greatest mentors are the people that will speak honestly to you, right? It's not all seashells and balloons. When you have a conversation, you can have an honest conversation about your blind spots and how you better address them in order to be able to prevail in the progression of your career. So there needs to be those honest conversations. Certainly in the coaching, coaching definitely has a place in that, in that scheme of you not be understanding that it sometimes it does take a village to make sure that you're presenting or leading with your best foot, and that you're showing and demonstrating the best possible you in terms of being the best associate general counsel or deputy general counsel, what have you. And our coaching sessions are again much like my mentoring sessions of old, are very honest discussions, and yet and they and we talk about some things that are less than pleasant, but they're meant with great intention, and those honest conversations shared in a confidential setting are so valuable, I think, to the individuals. And again, the successes that we've achieved along the way demonstrate exactly that they are helpful, and that there is great value in executive coaching and the other various types of coaching that we at BarkerGilmore as senior advisors and coaches partake in, pretty much every day these days. So again, whether find out if your company engages in or has an executive coaching program. Please give us a call if you want to explore the opportunities for coaching, whether or not your company provides coaching to its executives. I think having these discussions could be fruitful in terms of making sure you're getting the best professional guidance you can, and simply because, frankly, it's available to you.
Yeah, and if I might add, you should keep in mind that no coaching style is inherently better than another. You need to choose the coach that works for you and your unique needs. I guess the only hard and fast rule I would have with my clients is I really would want an opportunity for them to listen. The coach, I need to listen to what the coachee has to say. The coachee has to listen to what I have to say, so that I can effectively guide the coachee. And again, in the experience and backgrounds, you can finding someone in your field, I think, is important, because there's a synergy in what you're doing with what the coach knows and has knowledge about. So I think that's critical. But again, it is what makes you feel comfortable. And some people have a desire to have a coach who gives them a textbook and who tells them, here's the rules we're going to follow, here's how strict this is going to be. And that may work for some. I work on I'm much more flexible. We do have some substantive discussions about some development, but at the same time, I like it to be a free-flowing discussion about what their needs are, or where I can be of most help. Again, it's up to you. Working with a coach can certainly help in your career transformation. I think there's a lot of studies that will tell you that. And it's not just me saying it. So it is an investment in your future. I think that companies who invest in this type of engagement expect something in return. So it is important that if you do receive a coach and you are coached, that you put everything into it, and that you allow yourself to be led and helped through the process.
Yeah, I will close with this before we turn it back over to Bob. Let me say this, that as you make your this is a lesson learned, and it really is important, because you no matter where you are, kind of in a link in the chain in the professional development of not only yourself but those around you. And so one of the lessons learned that I took away from my lengthy career is this: as you make your professional climb, and certainly when you finally get to where you always wanted to be, make sure you take care of those who are following in your wake, who aspire to be you one day. Help create similar opportunities for them. So today, as Haydee and I have been promoting the value of coaching, not only think of not only yourself, but as you make your professional climb, and that you're also thinking about the people that want to be the next you, because there'll become times where they come to you and are asking you, hey boss, can I have access to coaching and mentoring? Can we talk about that? Can we build that into our professional development plan? Again, no matter where you are, you're in that continuum, and hopefully, certainly, you will progress professionally, maybe with some help of mentoring and coaching, for sure. And just remember those who kind of want to be the next you. And we'll continue these same discussions in terms of professional development and what needs to be fed into that to make sure that, again, you're putting your best foot forward. And with that, thank you very much. Haydee, thank you. It's always good to partner with you, my friend. And with that, I'll turn it over to Bob Barker.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for both of you and sharing your insights. And I'll just add that, I mean, I talked to, CEOs, heads of human resource, as well as, general counsel and chief compliance officers. And it's resounding, commentary is that they feel that executive coaching is one of the most powerful tools to help improve performance of those on their team and ultimately profits of the organization. And now more than ever, retaining talent it's a great tool for that, to demonstrate to the people within the organization how much they're valued, and that the company does want to develop them and help them be everything that they can be for themselves as well as for the organization. And just as far as this GC Advantage program, we do continually look to get feedback and want to make it as valuable as possible for everyone in attendance. So we will be sending out just a 1-minute survey. I appreciate you just taking a minute to provide us your feedback. And obviously, if there's anything we can do to assist you with coaching or recruiting, advising, please reach out to any of us, and we'll be happy to discuss your needs. Thanks again for joining us, and I look forward to having you participate in a future GC Advantage program. Thanks now.